Hello, friends. Now we are going to discuss something very important and interesting. We are going to discuss the natural world or the living world. Now we are going to discuss about how to observe the natural world and question what we have observed from the natural world and understand and finally experience the natural world. Now, here we are not going to discuss what's there in the textbook, okay, in your school textbook, like naming of these plants, species, okay, we are not going to do it. Here, you just relax, sit back, and be almost in a meditative state and just enjoy the video. Okay, so today, while returning back from the market, I took this photo of these beautiful uh, varieties of plants, and that you can also see the flower. You see, whenever I return back from the market, I always pass by this horticulture flower garden. And every time I pass by this garden, I never miss to look at these beautiful flowers. Like, come on, how can you miss, right? They're so beautiful to look at. Now, the first thing, when you look at the natural world, is observation. You have to observe keenly, intensely. Okay? You first just observe it. Just observe these plants, different types of these plants. Okay? This is the other picture I have taken. Here you can see some cactuses. Okay? And this plant is flowering. So first we have to observe. Now the thing after observation is questioning. Okay, we have to question. After questioning we have to understand. Okay, make sense of it, what we have observed. After that, to experience it finally. Now first, while observing, you see, you can see different types of plants here. Okay, you can see different types of plants. Now you have observed. Okay, fine. Now second is you have to question. Now in the questioning part, different types of questions you'll come up with, like, why is this plant green? Okay, why is the color green? That's a question. The next question is flower. Why do plants flower? And why do some plants have no flower? Okay, that's a question. Another is, why do these cactus, this plant here, they have thorns? That is another question. Now you can come up with various questions. Now I'm not going to give any answer to these questions here in this video. This video is about how to navigate the living world and try to understand it, experience it. Okay, So here you see, you can come up with various types of question here. One question, important question you can come up is like, you see this plant, okay, we know it is living, right? We know it is living. Now if you see this cup, okay, where it is grown, the plants are grown, this cup, it contains some mud there. It contains the soil. Now the soil is non-living thing, it is not living, okay, and there is sunshine. Sunshine is there. The light, it is not living, okay, and there is air here, okay, in the environment there is air, it is also not living, but the plant is living, okay, the plant is living. Now you can ask this question, what makes this plant living and what makes this soil, the light, the air non-living? Okay, you can ask this question. You have to think deeply. Now you might come up with the answer after some thought, that we know it is living because it is growing, it is multiplying, producing its own kind, it is growing in size day by day. As the days passes by, it grows, okay, it flowers, it changes, basically it changes, so it is living. Okay, fine. Now you can ask the question, what will happen? You can just, imagine these things in your mind. You can, use your mind as a laboratory, okay? Virtual laboratory. Just imagine stuff. Imagine you have taken this plant and you have removed it from the soil and kept it, okay? Will it survive now? The question is, will it survive? You can try this and see. According to me, it will not survive. It will die. It required the soil, okay? And you can also try to remove this plant and keep it in a dark place, okay, where there is no sunlight. Again, you can experiment and try to see whether the plant lives or die, okay? Another thing is, don't water this plant, okay? Don't water this plant and see whether it lives or dies. Next you can try to put this plant in an enclosed box, in a glass bottle, okay, and see whether this plant lives or die. You will see in all the cases, if you remove this plant from the environment where it is living, surviving, it will die if you remove the environment. So here you can come to the point that environment is necessary for the plant to survive. That means environment is the surrounding nearby the plant. That means here you can think again deeply, that something it requires from the environment to grow. Without the environment, it cannot survive. Why it is living? Something from the soil, it is getting something from the soil. Something from the air, it is getting something from sunlight, okay? It needs sunlight to grow. So you can think now that what is it? What is it that it is there in the living organisms in this plant, that it uses these outside materials, outside things, factors, okay? It uses water from outside, soil from outside, light from outside, and it grows. Now think deeply, meditate on this thing, okay, on this question. What is there in this plant? Okay, what is there inside this plant that it is taking stuff from the outside and it is growing? Okay, first it starts from a small seed, okay, then it starts growing, time passes by and it starts growing, and it will flower and it will produce seed again, then again the seed will grow. So what is there in this plant, inside this plant, that makes it happen, this growing, okay, this life cycle? That is a differentiating factor between the living and non-living, right? The growing part and reproducing its own kind. The soil, the light, the air will not reproduce, will not grow or give new type, okay, new, it will not create its own kind. But this plant will create its own kind, okay. So question will come now, what is there inside this plant that it makes it possible for it to grow and multiply? Now that is the questioning stage. First you have observed, now you are questioning, and next you have to understand. You have to understand. Next is, after questioning, you have to understand or try to make sense of it. Now just with our naked eye, without any instrument or device, if we look at it, we may never find the answer, okay. What is there inside this cell, inside this, sorry, plant? Why? Because you see, our eyes, human eyes, there is certain limit, we cannot see beyond that. There is certain size, okay, small size, beyond that we cannot see further. And there is also a distance where after certain uh, distance, far distance, we cannot see clearly, we need some instrument like binoculars, telescope. Similarly here we will require some instrument. The instrument is microscope, okay. It is a device to see smaller objects which our eye cannot see. Now when you take this part of the leaf, okay, and look under the microscope, you look under the microscope. Now when you look at the microscope, you will see a new world, a new realm, okay, the realm of the small size. You will see small uh, enclosed, like a box structure, okay, like a cell, small box, small box you will see, or small circles you will see, spherical things you will see under the microscope. Now there you will find something new again, something new to observe and to ask question, okay, something new. In the beginning you just observe the outside world. Here with our naked eye we can just see the leaves and the colors and these varieties of shapes. Now under the microscope, if you see, you will see more uh, new structures, new shape and sizes. These small boxes, you know what it is? It is cells. It is cells first discovered by Robert Hooke. He first discovered the dead cells. Okay, he first discovered the dead cells of a plant cell wall. Then many people, individuals later used different types of microscopes to see these cells, living cells under the microscope, like Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Now I'm going into textbook stuff. I would not like to go much there, but these things I will just mention it, okay. So these cells, you will see these small structures, box like structures inside this, under this microscope. If you see, now these are cells. Now if you increase the power, okay, from 10x you will go to 40x, okay, increase the power, you will see in larger size of the same thing, okay, same sample of the plant material. Then further down, if you go inside this cell, you will see more finer details, small structures you will see, okay. Inside the cell you will see another spherical, another circle there, okay. What it is called? It is called nucleus. You will find inside there nucleus and many other small structures you will find. Now you have observed more different types of structures inside this cell. Now you can ask more questions, okay. You can ask more questions and try to understand what it is. So that's what the earlier people, individuals, okay, who have looked at these cells, they have tried to understand it, okay. They try to understand it. So they have come up with different theories, this cell theory and all these things, okay. Now if you want to understand, okay, if you want to understand why this color of the leaf is green, okay, why this plant is growing, before we have asked this question, why it is growing, okay, that's why it is living, right? The soil, the light, the air, it is not living things. The plant is living, it is growing. So these questions, why it is growing, why it is green, all these questions, after observing just from the surface level, we have asked this question, right? It can be answered by studying that small structure which we see under the microscope, that is the cell. By studying the cell and the behavior of the cell, we can understand and we can answer all the questions that we have asked before, okay. Now I will not answer, we don't have time here, it will take long time to answer and some illustrations and diagrams to show. For that I have uploaded a video, what is a cell, okay, title what is a cell, in my channel name Cox Science. So please watch the video for understanding the textbook material, okay, textbook stuff. Here we'll discuss only about observation, questioning, understanding and experiencing. Now you know, people say that a philosopher, okay, a philosopher, he will say there is a beautiful flower and a biologist comes and takes apart, remove the part of these flowers and dissect the flower, okay, it dissects the flower and it destroys the beauty of the flower. A philosopher will say, a poet will say, you have completely destroyed the beauty of the flower. Now what will the biologist reply? Well, the biologists, you know, they dissect the things because they want to know, okay, they want to know more about the flower. They don't just want to say at the surface level. So now the biologist can say to the philosopher or the poet that no, by dissecting and looking the part of the flower or leaf under the microscope, I am looking at more finer details, okay, finer details of the plant, I am looking at something new, something different. A new world is out there. So I am unlocking the mysteries of nature and looking at these structures inside the called cells and all these parts. I am discovering more about the plant. So a biologist can say it is more beautiful. Okay, it is more beautiful to understand about the cell. I can understand now fully the plant. I can know why this color is green, why they grow and multiply. All these questions now can be answered. So isn't it beautiful to know all those things and unlock more about the plant? So a biologist can reply this to a philosopher. So it is not that bad to dissect and study these plants as the poet or philosopher might think. Okay, so here you see, now we have observed, we have questioned, we have understood. Okay, now the final is to experience. To experience. Now, after learning all this, okay, after learning all this about the plant, you have to experience this plant. Okay, you have to experience it as it is. As it is, you have to experience its beauty, its relation to other stuff like the environment, how it is interacting with the environment. The sunlight is falling, okay, and then after that, it is the leaf, in the leaf it is performing photosynthesis, it is create making its own food, and then after that it is growing. It's taking water from the it's taking water, taking carbon dioxide from the air, okay, to grow. So all this network, these connections, you have to understand it. And then after that, you know that these plants, what they are giving out, okay, they are giving out what? Oxygen. We are taking in, and then we are giving out carbon dioxide, and the plant is taking. Now imagine, without this plant, will we survive? Will we survive? We won't survive, right? Because we are getting oxygen in return of, we are giving carbon dioxide, in return we are getting oxygen. So without us, the plant may not survive. Without animals, the plant will not survive. And without the animals, the plant will not survive. And without the plants, the animals will not survive. So we are in a relationship, give and take. There is connection here. So all this connection you can understand, and then after that you can experience it. Okay, the plant is giving out oxygen, you are breathing it, you are taking it, you are experiencing life. So now final is you have to experience as it is. Okay, so that is the final understanding. First, while observing the natural world, you have to first observe intensely. Okay, then come up with different questions. You have to question it. Then after questioning it, you have to try to make sense of it. Okay, try to make sense, try to understand it. Then after that, you experience it. Okay, you experience it. You see, friends, these things we are not taught in our schools or in colleges. These things we have to learn by ourselves. Okay, in schools and colleges, they will just teach you some facts, memorize it, names of the plants, all these things. But we also have to look at the natural world in different view, in different perspective. Okay, So all of us should do it. So hope you have understood and gained something from me what I have to expressed. You have understood something, and now you will view the world in a different way and try to understand it, try to question, and try to experience this living world. Thank you, one and all.